I love virtue. I love virtue because it represents the highest aspirations of human conduct. It is the pursuit of goodness for its own sake, the striving for excellence beyond the mere absence of wrongdoing. Virtue is the harmonious alignment of thought, word, and deed, orchestrated to produce a symphony of character that resonates with integrity, honesty, and compassion. In the embrace of virtue, I find a guiding star for my actions. It is not merely a concept, but a living practice that shapes the way I interact with the world. Every act of kindness, every gesture of fairness, every moment of self-control is a testament to the love I have for virtue. It is through these actions that I craft a life of significance and purpose. I love virtue. I love virtue because it is the guardian of my inner peace. In a world often clouded by confusion and conflict, virtue stands as a beacon of clarity. It is the tranquility found in a conscience that knows no deceit and the calm that comes from decisions made in the light of ethical principles. Virtue is the bedrock upon which the edifice of a contented life is built. Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound affirmations that will change your life. By valuing virtue, I set a standard for myself that transcends the fluctuations of circumstance. It becomes less about what I have and more about who I am. This internal moral compass steers me away from the tumultuous seas of external validation and towards the serene shores of self-acceptance. It is in this acceptance that I find true peace. I love virtue. I love virtue because it is the forge upon which my resilience is strengthened. Life is replete with trials and tribulations, and it is virtue that offers the tools to not just endure but to emerge stronger. The virtues of fortitude, courage, and perseverance are the allies that see me through the darkest nights and the fiercest storms. The love of virtue equips me with a profound courage to face life's challenges. It reminds me that while I may not control every event that happens to me, I have the sovereign authority over how I respond to them. Virtue is not the absence of difficulties, but the presence of moral strength amidst adversity. I love virtue. I love virtue because it is the melody that brings harmony to my relationships. Virtues like empathy, understanding, and patience are the notes that create a concordant tune, allowing me to connect with others in a deep and meaningful way. Virtue guides me to listen not only with my ears but with my heart, fostering connections that are rooted in mutual respect and genuine care. The practice of virtue in my interactions is a conscious choice to elevate conversations and actions. It is the decision to infuse kindness into my words, integrity into my promises, and reliability into my commitments. In doing so, I build bridges of trust that can withstand the tests of time and tribulation. I love virtue. I love virtue because it is the canvas upon which the beauty of my character is painted. Each stroke of generosity, each hue of humility, each shade of honesty adds depth and color to the portrait of who I am. Virtue is not a static state, but an ongoing process of self-improvement and self-reflection. By integrating virtue into my daily life, I become an artist of my own soul, carefully crafting a masterpiece that reflects both my individuality and my connection to a larger moral framework. Virtue offers me the palette of moral qualities from which I can choose to create a life of aesthetic and ethical beauty. I love virtue. I love virtue because it serves as the foundation of a just society. When individuals collectively embrace virtues such as justice, fairness, and respect, they lay the groundwork for a community where harmony prevails over discord. Virtue is the social glue that binds us together, ensuring that the rights and dignity of each person are upheld. The love of virtue inspires me to contribute positively to the world around me. It propels me to take action that is not only beneficial for me, but also for the greater good. In this sense, virtue transcends personal morality and becomes a civic duty, an integral part of the fabric of a thriving and compassionate community. I love virtue. I love virtue because it mirrors the deepest truths of my being. Virtues like authenticity and sincerity are reflections of my innermost self, urging me to live in accordance with my true nature. When I align my actions with virtue, I am expressing my identity in its purest form, unobscured by pretense or the desire to conform. This alignment allows me to stand firmly within my own skin, presenting myself to the world without the masks that people often don to gain approval or avoid conflict. Virtue calls me to a life of transparency, where my outer actions are congruent with my inner values, and my words echo the sentiments of my soul. I love virtue. I love virtue because it nurtures the growth of my wisdom. Wisdom is not merely the accumulation of knowledge, but the application of that knowledge through the lens of virtue. Wisdom informs my choices, allows me to discern right from wrong, and guides me toward actions that are not only smart but also right. Embracing virtue fosters a wisdom that is both practical and profound. It teaches me to weigh my decisions carefully, to foresee the potential consequences of my actions, and to choose paths that will lead to the well-being of myself and others. Virtue and wisdom together form a partnership that cultivates a life of depth and meaning. I love virtue. I love virtue because it is the testament of my legacy. The virtues I live by are the messages I send to the future, the seeds I plant for generations to come. How I embody virtue in my life today will echo through time, influencing not only my own destiny, but also the lives of those who follow. The love of virtue instills in me a sense of responsibility for the mark I leave on this world. It is not just about the tangible achievements I may reach, but about the intangible qualities I exemplify. Virtue ensures that my legacy is not one of mere success, but of significance, a life that stands as a beacon of what it means to live well. I love virtue. I love virtue because it is the beacon that lights my path through the veil of life's uncertainties. In moments of moral ambiguity, virtues like prudence and discernment serve as my compass, offering direction when the way forward is not clear. Virtue helps me navigate complex situations, ensuring that my choices are informed by ethical considerations and inner truth. This guiding light of virtue is not just for moments of decision, but also illuminates the everyday steps of my journey. It encourages me to act with intention, to live mindfully, and to appreciate the impact of my presence in the world. It reminds me that every step taken in virtue is a step towards the person I aspire to become. I love virtue. I love virtue because it is the hearth that warms the soul amidst the coldness of indifference and cynicism. In a world that can sometimes feel hard and unkind, virtues like compassion, love, and hope are the flames that keep the human spirit alight. Virtue challenges me to remain open-hearted in the face of despair, to offer kindness when it is least expected, and to hold on to hope when it seems most distant. The warmth of virtue is not a solitary comfort, but one that spreads to those around me. It invites me to be a source of encouragement, a haven of comfort, and a catalyst for positive change. In bringing warmth to others, my own spirit is nurtured, creating a cycle of goodness that radiates outward. I love virtue. I love virtue because it is the crown that adorns the noble in spirit. Virtues like honor, respect, and nobility of character are the jewels that signify a life lived with purpose and dignity. To wear this crown is not a statement of superiority, but a demonstration of the responsibility one bears to oneself and to society. Upholding virtue is an act of nobility that recognizes the intrinsic value of each person and each act of goodness. It is a commitment to hold oneself to standards of conduct that uplift rather than degrade, that honor truth rather than deceit, and that celebrate the best of what it means to be human. I love virtue. I love virtue because it is the compass on the journey of self-discovery. In the quest to understand who I am and what I stand for, virtues like introspection and humility guide me. They beckon me to look within, to question my motives, and to acknowledge my flaws. This journey inward is not one of self-indulgence but of self-awareness, where virtue becomes both the map and the terrain. The pursuit of virtue is an ongoing exploration, one that is never fully complete. It is a process of continual learning, adapting, and growing. Each step on this journey reveals new facets of my character and offers opportunities to refine my virtues in the crucible of experience. I love virtue. I love virtue because it is the sustenance that nourishes my will to persevere. The path of life is strewn with obstacles, and it is virtues like resilience and determination that fuel my drive to overcome them. These virtues do not make the journey easy, but they provide the strength to endure, to rise each time I fall, and to press on with renewed vigor. Virtue feeds not only the resolve to continue, but also the wisdom to recognize when change is needed. It encourages adaptability, teaching me that sometimes the most courageous act is not to forge ahead, but to take a new direction. Virtue ensures that my perseverance is purposeful, not just stubborn endurance. I love virtue. I love virtue because it is the legacy I can bestow upon the world. My actions, infused with virtue, are the inheritance I leave behind, the silent teachings I impart to others. Virtues like generosity and service are the gifts I can give, the contributions I can make to a world in need of kindness and support. This legacy of virtue is not measured in material wealth, but in the quality of influence I have on the lives I touch. It is in the moments of connection, the acts of goodness, and the spirit of service that my legacy takes shape. Through virtue, I can leave a mark that outlasts my physical presence, a mark that echoes in the lives of others. I love my virtue. I love my virtue because it is the essence of my highest self. It is the moral compass that guides me through the tumultuous seas of life, ensuring that my actions align with the noblest aspects of my character. Virtue is not just an abstract ideal. It is the concrete expression of my values in the day-to-day decisions I make. Embracing virtue strengthens my resolve to act with integrity, even when faced with difficult choices. It is the inner fortitude that empowers me to stand up for what is right, to be honest in my dealings, and to approach others with respect and kindness. My virtue is a beacon that shines light on the path to a life of meaning and fulfillment. I love my virtue. I love my virtue because it fosters a sense of inner harmony and peace. When my actions are in sync with my moral beliefs, I create a congruent life that resonates with authenticity. Virtue is the thread that weaves through the fabric of my being, holding together the tapestry of my identity in a coherent and beautiful pattern. By valuing virtue, I am committing to a journey of continuous improvement, aiming to embody the qualities I admire most. It is a daily practice of refining my character and cultivating the traits that contribute to the well-being of not just myself, but also those around me. This love for virtue is a love for the potential that resides within the human spirit to aspire towards greatness. I love my virtue. I love my virtue because it is the cornerstone of meaningful relationships. It is through the lens of virtue that I interact with others, building connections that are grounded in trust, empathy, and mutual respect. My virtue is the silent language through which my soul speaks, communicating a commitment to uphold the dignity of every individual I encounter. In the realm of virtue, I recognize that my actions have a ripple effect, touching the lives of others and shaping the world in subtle yet profound ways. It is the recognition that the practice of virtue is not a solitary endeavor, but a collective one, where each act of goodness contributes to the fabric of a more compassionate and just society. I love my virtue. I love my virtue because it is an act of rebellion against the cynicism and apathy that can permeate the human experience. In a world where shortcuts and self-interest often seem to prevail, my commitment to virtue is a declaration of hope. It is the courageous choice to believe in the possibility of a better self and a better world, and to act in accordance with that belief. Virtue is the quiet revolution that begins within the heart and mind of each individual. It is the understanding that while I cannot control the actions of others, I can control my own, and through them, contribute to the collective consciousness that steers humanity towards a more enlightened existence. I love my virtue. I love my virtue because it is the harbinger of true success. In the pursuit of my goals and aspirations, it is my virtue that defines the quality and worth of my achievements. Success devoid of virtue is a hollow victory, but when my accomplishments are the result of principled action, they carry a deeper significance. My virtue instills a sense of pride that is not rooted in arrogance but in the knowledge that I have acted according to my highest principles. It is the satisfaction that comes not just from reaching a destination, but from knowing that the journey itself was undertaken with honor and moral clarity. I love my virtue. I love my virtue because it is the legacy I leave behind. Long after I am gone, the effects of my virtuous actions will continue to echo through time. It is through virtue that I can make a lasting impact, imprinting my mark on the world not through monuments or accolades, but through the lives I have touched and the positive change I have inspired. I love my virtue for its ability to transform challenges into opportunities for growth. When faced with adversity, it is my virtue that lights the way, turning obstacles into stepping stones on the path to greater wisdom and strength. Virtue is not a shield to block out hardship, but a lens through which to view it, understanding that every trial is a teacher and every hardship a chance to deepen my character. This transformative power of virtue allows me to approach life with resilience, knowing that my moral core remains steadfast, regardless of the circumstances. It is the unwavering commitment to my principles that gives me the courage to embrace change and the flexibility to adapt without compromising my integrity. I love my virtue because it is a source of clarity in a world that can often be confusing and contradictory. In the multitude of voices and opinions that vie for my attention, my virtue serves as a reliable guide. It helps me discern the essential from the non-essential, the eternal from the ephemeral, and the meaningful from the trivial. By leaning on my virtue, I navigate life's complexities with a sense of purpose and direction. It is the compass that helps me stay true to my course, ensuring that my actions are not swayed by the fleeting trends of society, but are rooted in timeless ethical truths. I love my virtue because it is an expression of my autonomy and freedom. Virtue is not imposed upon me from the outside. It is a choice that springs from within. It is the conscious decision to exercise my free will in a way that uplifts rather than degrades, that unites rather than divides, that heals rather than wounds. This celebration of virtue is a celebration of the human capacity for self-determination and moral agency. It is the empowering realization that I have the ability to shape my character and influence my destiny through the virtues I choose to cultivate and embody in my life. I love my virtue because it provides a sense of inner security and self-assuredness. In a world where external circumstances can be uncertain and volatile, my virtue is the stable ground upon which I stand. It gives me the confidence to face the unknown, not because I am assured of success, but because I am assured of my ability to confront whatever comes my way with grace and moral fortitude. To gain the most benefit, you should listen to these affirmations 3 times a day, in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Let them sink in deeply, unlock insights, and enhance your life.